It's time for Bourbon with Friends, the bourbon podcast that never takes itself too seriously. Pull up a chair, grab a glass, and remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bourbon with Friends. My name's Brian. We have Adrian and Martin here, and we're here to talk about whiskeys from around the world and how a bourbon with friends can change the world. How are you guys doing after this last weekend of your drunken debauchery?
We survived. That's what I'll say. It was a great weekend. We had an awesome time.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Genuinely good times and good people. I slept on a patio. I burned my arms. What else did I do?
You smoked cigars.
Yeah, way too many. Yeah, no, it was a fantastic time. We went to I'm sure a lot of people who listen know, but we went up to Wisconsin and stayed in the Dells. It was about 10 or 11 of us, and we got to visit Wollersheim winery and distillery, which I fucking beautiful. Pretty cool place.
Gorgeous.
And then we went over to Driftless Glen as well, and got to do some tours, learn about their whiskey. But yeah, I don't know how I'm here, to be honest with you. If it wasn't for the amazing people that we have here today, I would have just fallen asleep. And
I drove you back home. Remember? No.
I don't.
Oh no. Oh no.
I dropped you off.
Yeah, I remember that part. No, but certainly not feeling much like a god today. So I'm gonna feel like a king. I feel like that's a pretty that's as good as you're gonna get from me right now. What's going on, guys?
Oh, that was the worst introduction he's ever done so far. So welcome, Greg and Shelly from Resist Spirits, also FKNG bourbon and vodka. So thank you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for having us today. We were looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm. And Martin, we've been there.
Yeah.
Yes, I was in a fraternity, and I can say, total confession here, I went overboard a couple times too much back when I was an undergraduate.
I'm not adverse to a wild night. I mean, you guys drop in my lives from time to time, and they're not tame. But this weekend was a little crazy. So yeah, it was fun.
Beast out.
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking again tonight. So.
Well, personally, I'm glad to finally meet you guys. I've seen you pop
right?
in Martin's lives, and I've, obviously heard and seen the whiskey. So I'm excited to get to know you guys today. So typically I'll ask people to just introduce yourselves and kind of give us a background on yourselves and how you got into the whiskey / spirits industry.
Actually, you want to start off, Sean?
Your story. What's your story?
All right. Well, from Detroit, Michigan. Grew up in Detroit. Went to a Detroit Public High School, and went to City College. From there, I'll tie this all in. I was recruited to the Secret Service in my senior year, and just phenomenal folks. Great career path. Had awesome experiences there, and then I got into White House Advance for HW, and again, from very humble beginnings, from a Detroit Public High School, and these slots are very competitive. And then I got into business. Being from Detroit, automotive is really popular here in the Detroit area, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of legends, right? And my business was in quality control, sorting and inspection, and I did that for about 19 years. And finally, I sold that after we had gone international and had presence in Mexico, Europe, and overseas in the Asia part. So when I sold that, then I thought, you know what? I want to start something else that's really meaningful and something about people like us, you guys, people that have determination and perseverance. And in our career, there was a word that really stood out a lot. Like, we're going to fucking do this. We're on a mission, and this is what it's going to take, and nothing's going to stop us. And I didn't quite make that connection yet. I knew I wanted to do something along those lines. And I'm at a club one day. We had bottle service, and we ran out. And I said, hey, we need some more fucking vodka. And as soon as I said that, it's like all the dots connect. And I said, I think this could be a great brand. And so I did a lot of research. Actually, for our vodka, we had a blind taste test where we invited a lot of beverage directors and bartenders here in the Detroit metro area. And one of those formulas was an unfiltered vodka. And when we came time to do the vote, that unfiltered vodka came out as number one. And we've won 2 silver medals, 2 national silver medals. And then the next step, we wanted to do a bourbon. And my partner, Mark Boyer, he was a big bourbon aficionado, and we went looking and researching, and we came up with a great location and formula that we got there. And again, we incorporated our brand ethos into that. And here we are, like 5 years later. And it's
Still standing.
That's right. It's going great. We're having a lot of fun. But behind all that, Shelly here, I'm going to let her share her story. She's been in marketing before, so she's put a lot of that brand ethos together.
So my background is in sales and marketing. I was a commercial broker for many years, so real estate, and I worked for nonprofits. So being his wife, I guess the job was a little bit easier for me to get with the company. But I'm also I'm VP of marketing. Also, I like to be the philanthropy manager, because that's very important to me. I want us to grow so we can give back. That's the whole point of it all. So that's what I'm focused on. So we've been on this journey together and meet a lot of great people, and especially that gentleman in the top left corner, Brian.
Making a lot of new friends, yes.
Making a lot of new friends, and now we have you 2 as new friends.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And you guys really kind of answered my kind of what I was going to say for my next question, which is totally fine. But I just wanted to point out to people who are listening that your bottle says FKNG on the front, which stands for Kings, Not Gods.
Yes.
And I read that it means to be a king or queen of your profession, passion and dreams, and live life to the max, but be humble because life is short and we are not gods. And I love your mission statement.
Thank you.
Resist being average, be fucking extraordinary. I fucking love that.
Yes. Yes.
So with that, you kind of answered it a little bit, but was there any beyond, you saying, let's fucking do this? Were there any other specific events or moments that really made you say, yeah, this is what we're going to do?
So the brand ethos, we wanted to produce something really good. So I was looking for locations where we could get this going. Coming from a quality control background, I wanted a place where we could have a laboratory where there's continuity, so that 10,000th bottle is going to be similar to the first, excluding obviously the single barrels. And those
It's a pretty good background to have when you're going into kind of what you're doing here, I'd say. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of these places, you could see immediately the difference. Some people had plexiglass over the assembly lines. And why does that matter? Because dust collects. And if there's high pressure that comes in from a door opening, that dust could fall down and come into a bottle. So just those little things there, a laboratory, it's got to have clean certificate, all of those things really matter to us a lot.
One thing I wanted to back up on, which I think made you more determined. So Greg first tried to get f-cking on the bottle.
Okay.
And then he got turned down at the time. So then he said, okay, I'll put the initials on there. And so he was waiting for approval. They called him, And they said, well, what does this stand for? And he said, oh, and then he thought of the whole mantra and the 4 kings, not gods. And they said to him, we thought you were going to say Frank, Karen, Nancy, Greg, that those were the initials for the booze.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny because we got pushback, and I think it made us and our team more determined that no one's going to tell us what we're going to fucking do it. We're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that perseverance in the beginning, we're like, okay, we're committed to this. We're going to go all the way.
Yeah, and I think you really, I mean, I personally feel like you really ended up with an even grander, name than you could have. I mean, it has broader meaning. It's just, I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, we didn't want to be too blunt, so it's I designed all the bottle, the labels, and the boxes, etc. And there's a lot of I think when you look at it, it kind of is elevated with that traditional or a little bit of royalty in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really obscene or obnoxious.
No, it has a classier feel to it for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adrian.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, what we're talking about is the FKNG straight bourbon whiskey. At least that's the one I have in my hand here. It's the small batch, aged 5 years. It's 88 proof. I don't know if you guys you gentlemen have it poured as well. Yes.
Yeah. I have the single barrel.
Jesus Christ, Martin.
Well, I've
had it for a while.
Martin.
I have a now that's a compliment. Yeah. We do have a sample. I have a sample of the single barrel that Brian sent me. I just poured
Thank you.
I have them both poured, but I just started with the small batch.
I just opened this today, so
cheers.
Well, what do you think, Brian? Martin?
I love it. Obviously, I opened this when you guys had sent it out, and I was super excited because it's the first time I got to try it. It was the first time I ever got to try it. I know Derek and I had talked about meeting up there, and he has a bunch of it, straight lines of bourbon for people listening. But when I tried it, I mean, it's my favorite bottle shape. I love a square bottle. I don't know what that is. I'm weird about bottles, but it's an excellent whiskey. There's got a note in it that always gets me. That I think if I had to say a favorite note in whiskey, and it's got this like cornbread note in it, and that's the only way I can describe it. The first time I ever tried Blood Oath, that's what attracted me to that. And then when I tried this, I'm like, yes, it's got that. That's my flavor profile. So obviously I've enjoyed it. I also took it over to and enjoyed it with a couple cigars with my brother-in-law, and we put a healthy dent in this. So that's why it was at the level that it's at. So we hung out. And he enjoyed it as well, and he's a big whiskey guy as well, and he was very impressed. So I love it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
first
this
impression.
Is very nice, very very nice. I drank a lot of really high proof stuff over the weekend, so when I just poured this for the first time, it was a very delightful on my palate because it was a little bit on the lower end of the scale, but it's very, very, I mean, maybe cliche, but very smooth. Tastes very good.
Thank you. I like to do cocktails with it. I'll do a blood orange mule. Blackberry smash.
We make one of those at Edwin Co.
Oh, nice.
Blackberry smash. Yeah.
Love blackberries, but I think it balances it out really nice.
Yeah. It would be a good for cocktails.
I keep my mouth shut because I love you guys as friends, and I love this product so much that this is actually my second bottle, not the first one. So I had to reorder.
Yeah, I'm getting another one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably just drive across the state line and get some.
Where are you located, Adrian?
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not far at all. At least probably from someplace where I could get it, Yeah.
Because right now we're in Michigan, Kentucky, Florida, and then we have the online fulfillment. But right now our online fulfillment just has our inaugural 4-year small batch. But we'll probably be making some changes. Thinking about doing an allocation of the barrel proof. So stay tuned. So
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get a new one. Maybe 2.
We'll get to
With you, it doesn't surprise me at all. With everything you guys have, Greg, I know you were in law enforcement, Secret Service for a while. I'm saying a while because I don't like to divulge any information that people don't need to know, or how long you served or did what you did, right? Coming from a background like that myself, is there a drink that you came home to after work that made you relax, or something you got at a bar when you were off duty to give you that relaxation feeling that you were able to jump into to just wind down for the day?
Yeah, I was in my early 20s to mid 20s, and I would have a Crown Royal. Yeah, that was way back then, or way in my early 20s. So I wasn't a really sophisticated drinker, but I just went for that because some of the other guys, and I'm trying to fit in, but I did get a hankering for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one that I could remember. And to be honest, it's been so long, and nothing else kind of sticks out. Yeah.
But a
Tequila.
Crown Royal, okay.
Well,
Yes.
Crown Royal's
That-
not terrible. I mean, it's
terrible.
not
No.
terrible.
Yeah.
That makes my soul hurt a little bit that you're
Yeah.
drinking Canadian.
But yeah, in all honesty, that's what I would probably have ordered back then. Yeah.
Now you've grown up and you know better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you drinking now then? What's your pour of the day? I know FKNG, your primary bourbon is that, but besides that, what else do you like to enjoy?
Taylor's, I liked having some Taylor, some reserve on that.
We've drank a lot of your bourbon,
That's right.
Brian. I should show
10th
you one of the
Mountain.
bottles because everybody's like, "What's that? What's that?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like I need to send you some more. Oh no.
Oh my
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we had one
What's
of our
your-
partners. He was thrilled. We brought it to one of his summer parties, and it brought them the rye. He's like, he loved it. He's like,
I
this
was
is
gonna
Yeah.
ask which
love the
one.
rye.
Tell me which
Right?
one.
The
The
rye.
rye's really good. Yeah. that
yes,
one's awesome.
yes, and that's what we like too. And then we made a cocktail with it. So I know the guys get mad at me because they do it neat. So I guess I ruin
Mhm.
everything with cocktails on our team.
No,
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 you
it's
don't.
okay.
But there is a really good cocktail that this restaurant does up in northern Michigan, and they did it with our barrel strength. And so then I tried it with 10th Mountain whiskey, and it's 3 muddled grapes, couple dashes of orange bitters, a dash of sweet vermouth, and it is so good.
Oh wow.
Sounds like very refreshing.
Yeah, good summer drink.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to do it.
That does sound.
This-
Now I'm thirsty for that,
Yeah.
and I want to make it,
Yes.
but I'm in here. Need to move my.
I've been trying-
Make another.
Well, I've been trying to
bar.
like force myself to do. I'm the same way. Like typically, it's always neat for me, but
Mm.
there is that thing when you get to the summer where it's either you want to maybe drink like beer if you're starting to drink early, like by the pool or something like that. But then beer is super fucking filling. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know
Right.
what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna
Switch it
give
up.
cocktails a shot. And actually, I did this weekend. I had an old fashioned, and it was pretty good. It was super refreshing, and I was very happy with that. So I'm gonna try to experiment with more. And I had the rye from 10th Mountain, so I might have to try that one because that sounds.
And a
that
rye
sounds really good.
balances out an old fashioned perfectly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's old fashioned
Yes.
sweet. The rye, that's the perfect bourbon. That's why I think our barrel proof has the high rye, and the mash bill balances it out great.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I'll have to try. I'll try that this weekend.
Yeah, but I think for me, when I was just growing up, obviously through college, it was beer, and then when I got into the Secret Service there, the Detroit field office, like I said, mentioned Crown Royal, but then it was like a period of time for wines, and I still like wine. And actually, Shelly got me into that because she just knew all these great Italian wines. So I'm a little bit of eclectic. I like
You
a
are
lot of different
eclectic.
things. Tequila, rums are great.
Rums are great.
Yes. And so, yeah, I think my palate has broadened and become more
Yeah.
refined as I've aged. Yeah.
Are you enjoying like so I got into rums maybe like 3 or 4 months back. And at first I'm like, oh, some of this is so fucking weird. because it's like the crazy like Jamaican rums, like the high ester, just that funky shit. Have you gotten into that, or is it still more of just the kind of sweeter rums?
We had a pineapple one.
The Plantation's good. The Diplomatic was good. But there's one that I really would recommend. It's called Abuelo, a 12-year. And that is just phenomenal. That is great.
I'll have to try that out.
Which is the translation means grandfather in English.
I did.
Nice. I'll try that. If there's one, if you can find it, and it's the reason why I'm suggesting is because it does make good cocktails. I actually got to make some. It is weird, but it's called Smith and Cross. It's about $30. You can find it in most places, but it's very good. It's something that I definitely recommend getting into some like the weirder rums to get away from it. Like, because I was trying to get myself away from like the sweeter, more standard stuff. Because my buddy's like, you gotta try the weird shit. And that was one that it took a while, but when I finally found that place with it, it's good and it makes some cool cocktails.
Nice.
And then I've had the opportunity of a lifetime to go to Cuba, and I've had some great stuff down there. And Costa Rica's Flor de Cano, those are good ones too. But the Cuban stuff is just awesome. Yeah. Whatever they have there locally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my Spanish is not the best anymore, so I'm just gonna shut up.
We gotta go do a trip like that and practice.
We should do a field trip, Ryan.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say.
Oh, I would love a field trip, but
my Spanish isn't terrible.
Yes.
All right, so Shelly, this question's for you because you are the philanthropic side or part of the philanthropic side, right? I know, Greg, you guys are both into it. The whole company is, and you guys love what you do. But with your nonprofit work and your continuing nonprofit work, what's one nonprofit or a couple nonprofits you guys want to highlight that you help out and represent?
So one of my favorites is the Military Working Dog Team Support Association. They're a nonprofit out of Virginia, and they send quarterly care packages to dogs and their handlers in deployed zones. And if you haven't seen their Instagram page, I love every dog I fall in love with. But so they'll send them things like the Rec Spec goggles, treats, portable showers, toys. We sent them a bunch of toys for Christmas. So they put up like an Amazon wish list. So we'll do a couple different things to help support them, but they're probably my number one. I definitely have to expand. We've done things for Warriors Wingmen. They provide dogs to veterans with Mission 6, with PTSD. I'm trying to think what else we've done. We've done a lot of school stuff, but it's mostly, we've done some veteran events. Oh, we did the Westland. We've done local police departments. So
SWAT teams.
We've done SWAT teams. And right now,
fundraising.
The next one I'm going to do is one of the K9 units up in Metro Detroit or down in Metro Detroit to provide. I want to make sure that their K9 has body armor. So we're going to do our next barrel release for Total Wine. We're going to do $2 from every bottle to go towards them.
Oh, I love that.
That's really cool.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, our mission, it's veterans, servicemen, military dogs, K9s, first responders. That's what's in our wheelhouse.
Yep.
I mean, that's a phenomenal wheelhouse. It's very broad. You're helping out the people who serve. So that's a great mission.
Yes, they do it selflessly. It's like, it's my privilege and honor. And that's my focus. I'm like, this is why we want to grow and get bigger, because we want to give back more. That's my whole focus.
Love it.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
I want to shout out to Reggie Ball and to Larry Osecki, our partners that both served.
Yep. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Even more.
Thank you. Okay, it's time for the weird question.
Right.
Are you guys ready? Yeah, we are.
Jesus.
If a squirrel could drive,
Answer this one.
This is my question.
What kind of vehicle would it drive and why?
You answer it.
Okay, because I want this car, And I didn't get it the last time around when my lease was up. It's got to be a Ford Bronco, the new Bronco.
That's awesome.
And reason why, too, it's kind of sentimental for me. My father, who's passed away, I remember when he had a Bronco back when I was growing up, back when it was cool, before OJ drove one.
Yeah.
I remember driving.
He did drive one. Yeah, he did drive one. Yeah.
But I love my dad's Bronco. So now that it's come up, I'm like, yep, it's going to be a Bronco.
Well, he was in the back of it. His lawyer was driving it, wasn't he?
I don't think
Al
so.
Collins
Al
was.
Collins, his friend.
That's right.
Yeah. Bring up.
That was wild.
No, that was hilarious.
That was fucking awesome.
That was awesome.
Because to be honest, Shelly, if you weren't going to bring it up, I was going to bring it up. So
Headed off at the pass.
there you go.
There we go.
And the weird thing is, it's funny as hell, that I was literally spent the whole weekend driving around in my buddy's Bronco in Wisconsin. So that's really cool that's like the thing that that's how I got my arms burnt, because we had put the top down. And
yes, those are nice.
Yeah, that's a nice product. Ford made a nice product with that.
Yeah, it's a great car. Yeah, I mean, and I would love to see a squirrel driving that with the top down and his ears get burnt. Something weird like that. That's awesome.
I'm just curious how he's going to see over the steering wheel or press the pedals.
Well,
SNL, it's going to use his tail.
Yes, SNL had one skit years back called "Tune Sis, the Driving Cat." I don't know if you guys remember that. Yes.
Oh yes.
Tune Sis.
It's been a minute.
I used to watch a lot of SNL. I don't know that one.
Very old. Very.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly young.
No. Maybe. This is my last question, and then I'm going to throw it over to Martin. He can ask the rest of them for the night. I know there's a ton of questions out there about the bourbon market and whiskey market in general dropping in sales and everything like that around that. And I know you guys are continually growing in sales across all the markets you're currently in, as well as your online sales. What do you contribute that to? Is it your team? Is it yourself? Is it your friends, family? I know there's so many things you can contribute it to. So,
I think one thing is I'd be curious to see what your opinion is too, but I think part of it is the organic growth. I think we get out there. We personally will go out and do tastings and festivals. I mean, when we launched in Florida, we personally spent 2 months going to different places. I think connecting with the public has helped a lot. And I think the friends and family that have helped us launch this, it's amazing who people are connected to, whether they're introducing us to a distributor or an establishment. And we try to help others too. Whoever helps us, we want to help them as well. And Brian, you're a great example of that. You've been very kind to us. So I would say that's one point. What would you say?
Gosh, I think there's a bunch of different variables there. Yes, the grassroots and making new friends and people helping us with that. But I also wanted us to find really good product, because they'll probably buy it for the name the first time. But if they like what they're drinking, if the magic's in the bottle, they'll be a repeat customer. So that's got to be number one, because there's so much sourcing out there that you can get that's cheap, and we wanted to get something that was quality. So that, I think, was important. But I also believe that people buy products because there's an identity or a feeling that comes with it. It's an emotional process, right? And the name is bold. And I think it's perhaps one of the most popular acronyms in the world. Probably at the end of the day today, it will be texted or X tweeted at least 1 million times. But when
it's a fucking good bourbon.
Yes, the product is there. So you put those all together, and I think it just gives you that formula to get some traction. We're not yet where we want to be, but we're trying to get into orbit, and that's our big goal.
Yeah, we have a lot of goals. We want to do a double oak. There's things we want to do. We're learning along the way too. We don't pretend to know everything. We're open to it. We're open to learning more, constructive criticism. We will get better. We will do better. And we'll just keep going. Our whole team is never quit.
Yeah. I like to say we're made with American grit.
That
Well,
says
that's an
it's on your,
understatement.
it's on the hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is on the hat. I looked at my hat earlier.
Mhm.
Yes. I saw it.
Yes.
I just looked at mine in the reflection. I saw it right there.
It's on the back, bro.
I know. That's
I
why it's the
can't
joke.
read the back of mine.
No, but I mean, even like how you put it, or I guess like I remember I'd come up here. I was in Colorado, so I don't think you guys were out there, so I wasn't aware. And I was kind of been doing stuff on Instagram for a while, but then I remember passing by the shelf, and it's one of those things like if you would just see me walking, and then I came back, I'm like, does that say fucking? And I'm just like, now I'm interested. But then I think I had already had like 17 things because Benny's is the most dangerous place on earth. Like, so I already had like a bunch of stuff. And then I remember like literally, I think it was 2 days later, I saw like 4 or 5 people posting about it. I'm like, oh shit. So I reached out. I think it was Derek I reached out to. I'm like, what's your thoughts? He goes, next time you go, fucking buy it. And so then I obviously went into this thing and I was able to connect with you guys. So that was the nice thing about it. But I think that is it's the first time you kind of look at it, the name catches your eye.
Yes.
And I think there comes that point though, like where this product it's got to live beyond the bottle. It's got to live beyond the label.
Yes.
It's got to be in the, it's got to have a meaning. It's got to have some juice to it. And like, it does have to have like just something that really captures your attention. And like, I think you guys did that, but I'm interested. You sort of alluded to it there, Shelly, that you guys were thinking about doing things like double oaked. And I guess this is would you do it / what's your opinion of doing things like finished bourbons? Because it's kind of popular right now. And I know that there's some people who kind of feel like you shouldn't need to necessarily finish. Some people like to experiment, like Starlight. Starlight goes crazy with their finishes, but they do a great job. But there's some people like, well, you're maybe just covering up a subpar product with a fancy finish just to make it different. What do you guys think about that? Is that something you guys want to do?
It seems like it comes up a lot in Michigan. I mean, I don't know. We're still researching it, but it's so funny. One local brand did a honey finish, sells out right away, and everyone just goes crazy for this honey. I mean, people are lining up outside liquor stores to get this and all these other finished bourbons. And I don't know if it's just limited to a couple different markets. So that's what we discussed. And I said, why not try something and do something special? And maybe we connect it to something for this special release. Maybe this is for, it's seasonal, but also to help benefit something. Sorry, I'm taking your profits away, but to help veterans or, something. I want to connect. If we do it, I want it to connect it to something special to raise funds for.
Absolutely.
That's that. I mean, I think that is because it's there is an exclusivity to certain kind of bottles, and I feel like lately, like, it's finished stuff. And while the honey barrels, like, I feel like anything that puts out a honey barrel, it's like it's done. Like, I've never seen one sit on the shelves for a long time. If it's like distillery only things, they just fucking go. But I think even adding on so much value with something that is going towards something great, it just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I've done tasting events or I've talked to different proprietors, I always ask them, I'm like, what would be your choice? And they all give me a different answer. So I guess that'd be my question to the three of you. What would you choose for if you wanted a finished bourbon, what would you choose?
Double oak, 100%.
Okay.
100% double oak.
She loves a good double oak. We were just talking about that this weekend, like the different ones that you enjoyed, and every one you brought up was like, it was always double oaked for
every
the
time.
finishing.
How about you, Martin and Brian? What would be your choice if you had one?
I mean, I think finishing in something like an Oloroso sherry would be amazing. I think my favorite current wine finish is probably Sauternes. I think it just really does something with bourbon and Scotch. I'm a big Scotch fan. And I feel like that's such a great complementary spirit. But I'd be like, for me with this, I actually think a good rum finish would be interesting as hell.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah,
that would
be very interesting. Yeah, I'd like that.
I want to get something exciting, something that, and we talked about this with Trip Stimson from Barrel. I really want an African redwood finish.
Oh yeah.
Bourbon.
Okay.
That would
Forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's a popular product here in Michigan is maple syrup. And if I was going to do something like a finish, I'd be more inclined to do it with a whiskey bourbon, not with the vodka, because there's all kinds of flavored vodkas out there. When I think of that, I think of like, okay, these are fraternity, sorority, or very specialized cocktails. But I would be willing to experiment that with our bourbon. The problem I'm kind of leery or have reservations with is it becoming too sweet, and you got to monitor that, I would say, every 24 hours, because it just tips one way and it could just be.
I would agree with that. And here's why I say that. And just because of the distillery that I work at, he did a maple. And I was concerned because I don't want it to be sweet either. And I don't know how he managed to do it, but he did a really nice job of making it has the maple like flavor, but it's still not like you're drinking syrup. It's very subtle. Very subtle. So
I need to send you
it can
guys
be
some of
done.
mine.
Okay, yeah, Brian,
Oh,
please.
you guys have a maple. 10th Mountain has a. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
10th Mountain whiskey has a maple.
Special
We
reserve.
Yep. It's going to be released, I believe, during our 10-year anniversary.
Wow. Okay.
Is it the bourbon?
It's a bourbon and a rye.
Oh, cool.
Rye.
So, yeah. And then we also have the single barrels that we're releasing the way we did with Rob Dietrich, as well as maybe a honey or maybe a chocolate bourbon and rye that we're releasing too.
Would it be local Colorado honey or something different?
Local Colorado honey.
It's one of my favorite kinds.
That's
It's exciting.
Yes.
So all of it's barrel-aged honey and barrel-aged maple syrup that we do, and then we refinish the bourbon and rye back in those casks.
When would that release come out with 10th Mountain, Brian?
September.
Okay.
5th, 6th, and 7th.
Plan a trip down there. We can pick it up because I can combine some fishing with that and try that out.
Well, if you come up, sir, you guys are more than welcome to stay in my neck of the woods, and we'll go right to the Colorado and do some fly fishing.
Okay. I like that.
I'm not sure how well I'll do. I may hook you or myself once or twice, but I'll do it.
At least he's saying it up front, so it's not like a surprise. But so this is something that we typically ask, and I personally made one of these this weekend. Was I think the greatest part about whiskey and really what's fueled every single thing from me joining this podcast, me joining my two very good friends here on this podcast, now you guys, is memories. I think that this spirit is, if nothing else, it just creates them. It just does. Whether you're first drink with your parents, that's something I always remember as the first drink that I ever had with my dad. But we always ask everybody kind of, what's your favorite whiskey memory? And again, it doesn't have to be recent. It can be something that you just remember from your past. It could be something that just like sits in your memory as a great moment that you guys have had.
You want to go first, or you want me to?
You can.
So I've got one son. He's 25 and this November he'll be 26. And I'm very lucky he has picked up the sport of fly fishing also.
Nice.
And I think it was last year or 2 years ago, we went on a fly fishing trip with True North trout. And just a great time to be on the water. It was my son and I and our guide. And we hooked into really some nice fish out there. And being outdoors, I love that. So I got an Instagram page, which is Fly Fishing and Bourbon, and those moments that I can share with my son on something special like that is what makes it for me. Yeah,
I love that. That's great.
Yeah,
nice.
Thank you.
Shelly.
I was thinking when we first ventured into the bourbon, as I mentioned, we have really good friends. I mean, we are so blessed. We have great friends. And this one couple, one of my good friends, Matt, him and I worked together as commercial brokers at CB. When I met Greg and he met Terry, we were lucky that we all liked each other. Now we are best buddies. And I remember when we were tasting the bourbons and hanging out at their home, laughing at the kitchen, just snorting with laughter about different stories.
Okay, thank
Some
you.
things
Finish
are
that
done.
sentence.
But it's just the memories, right? Just laughing and having a great time and saying, yes, let's do this. So that's probably one of my favorite memories.
Yeah.
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah,
it is.
these are that's always my favorite question, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
I love it. It's a great question.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to ask.
Because we've heard so many different things. I mean, there's some that are, are very personal stories that people have about their first kind of, maybe their first drink they ever had or a drink today. But I love when it's about sitting around with people having a drink, because that's sort of what this podcast is about.
Exactly.
And I think
Sorta.
Sorta, yeah. And again, like getting to experience something like that this weekend, I think I'm still kind of coming off of a high of it, to be honest with you. I mean, the whiskey is great, but the people are better, and I think that's something that we always want to kind of come back to with all of these things that we do in the whiskey biz, as I call it. What do you guys call it?
Memories, right?
Absolutely, memories.
That's what we live for.
Yep.
All right. Greg, Shelley, Greg, thank you guys so much for joining.
Greg Shelley.
I know. I've read the name and my dyslexia went backwards, and then I had to do it the other way to go make sure it was forwards.
Notice I put
So
Makes sense.
So we appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much. You guys do a great job. Love you guys. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
Martin, you got one little exit.
I do. Oh God, what do I say here? Oh, so you know what, guys, if you're like me, you like numbers, right? And one of my favorite numbers is 10. I also like mountains. So the thing is, I like 10th Mountain Whiskey a lot, and you guys should go check them out. They are our sponsors. You can find them on all social media platforms, as well as 10thwhiskey.com. Please go check them out. They are available in 40 different states through online distribution, and also 26 states across the country through the regular retail distribution. If you guys have any questions, again, you can go to 10thwhiskey.com. They'll answer any question you may have within the realms of knowledge. Again, 10thwhiskey.com.
All right. You guys, thank you so much. Love you.
Cheers,
Love you guys. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you guys so much.
Adios.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Bourbon with Friends. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a review to make it easier for others to find the show. You can also check us out on Instagram at BWF Podcast. Thanks for listening.